All right. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to Adventures with Captain Ray Kelly Live. And I tell you, I got another great show scheduled with great guests. And I sent out a last minute update. Ron Lockwood is not going to be able to be on the show. Well, he might be on, I should say. He got called on a medical transport, so he's actually flying right now, going to a hospital to pick up a patient. But Marcus is in the back room. He's eating the steak and the lobster that I have back there, and Stevie Bronx is in the back room because he agreed to fill in. I ended up calling him old school texting, and to make a long story short, he's going to be on tonight also, and everybody knows Stevie, and everybody knows Marcus, and then we have a surprise guest maybe at the end, and maybe I'll keep that in suspense. Um, but it's going to be a great show, and we got a great uh, bunch of people in the chat already, and I appreciate you all watching the show. I know it's dinner time, and you got better things to be doing than watching, an old guy who flies drones. And but we got the tip of the week. I'll be talking about that, and then we're going to do our monthly giveaway contest. We'll do that towards the end of the show. Um, but I don't want to keep Marcus in the back room too long, and I'm going to bring him in right now, and uh, we'll welcome in some. Hey, Marcus!
Aye, aye, Captain.
Marcus Crawford, Idaho quadcopter and Drone Nation.
That's
And,
it.
Marcus, I've been watching you and your shows since I started flying, you know, and I've learned so much watching you and Ron. But your videos are just so informative when you put out your videos on new drones and flying the Snake River Canyon. I I love it. I really do. Um, but Marcus comes all the way to us from all the way from Idaho. For those of you in the chat, I think everybody in the chat knows who you are. I'm looking at the names, and I can't say thank you enough for being on the show, Marcus.
Well, Captain Ray, thank you very much for that generous introduction. Yeah, I mean, I'm just an old retired dude that goes out and flies drones. And, we were talking before the show how much fun it is to share our love of the hobby, right? I mean, we enjoy flying the drones, and that's the whole point of it. And, along the way, we meet some really cool people too. And that's the other part of it that's a big joy. That's why, gosh, I come to Florida to go to the South Florida drone meetup, right? That's why you and I flew to Austin, Texas to go to Spin Up. I mean, it's the fun of the hobby, and it's the joy of making and meeting just new friends and meeting some wonderful people.
It's true. It's true, Marcus. And you brought up the South Florida drone meetup. I was going to welcome in the people in the chat, but I'm just going to talk about the South Florida drone meetup for a minute. And this is this list. You know my list. We're up to 71 people that are coming, that say they're coming, and it's going to be a great time. There's no doubt about it. Um, we got some giveaways, good giveaways this year. We had quite a few giveaways last year, thanks to the sponsors. But this year we're going to be giving away some drones and GoPro cameras and action cams and obviously T-shirts and hats. And um, the first 125 people are going to get a Pilot Institute lanyard. That show up, not that have signed up, that show up. And then Ron, um, Brad, he'll make up the ID cards again with the location, and Brad does a great job. So that's enough about the South Florida drone meetup, Marcus. But let me just welcome in a lot of people. We got Robbie, Travel Tech 360, in the World Drone community. He was number one to come in, and JC was number two. TJ, Lens Capture Online, Tom, all the way from Nevada, Henderson, Nevada. Um, but got a great crowd in the house. Maddie, how you doing? And going up the list, I know I saw Alan, Drone Views Media, all the way in Ireland. Um, Jack Rabbit, Scott, how you doing? Leonard, all the way from New Jersey. Oh my God, I'm telling you, they must have heard that you were going to be on the show, Marcus, because we got a great crowd. Bob Casey, how you doing? I'm very slow at reading these names, so bear with me. Steve Jones, all the way from Texas. How you doing, Steve? Stay safe, brother. And Steven Drones, good to see you. Flying Flynn Media. Going up the list. We'll get back to the list in a few minutes, and I'll try to name some people in a few minutes. But Marcus, I know most of the people know your story, but how did you get involved with drones? That's what I would like to know.
Yeah, I mean, I probably have the same story that almost everybody has. It always just looked cool to me. You'd see advertisements here and there for a drone flying around, a little quadcopter, and I thought, well, that's cool. I could do that, right? And so I did what a lot of people do. I went on to one of those Chinese websites. I think it was Banggood,
Okay.
and I found the biggest drone that I could find that wasn't terribly expensive, and I ordered it. And I think it was a JJRC something. Of course, no GPS, no altitude hold. It was just a drone, right? Well, I was able to get the thing up in the air, and I think maybe a couple of times I might have got it to hover, but it would always go this way and crash, or that way and crash, or into whatever. And in fact, it even broke at one point. One of the motors quit working, so I wrote the people at JJRC and I said, "Hey, what's this deal that you sent me?" Well, they actually sent me the electronics to repair it. So I took a million screws apart and put it back together and got it. I was going to say flying, but I hesitate to say flying. Let's just say I got the motor spinning, right?
Yep.
And so then I just like everybody else, you start watching videos on YouTube, and all of a sudden I saw this guy talking about a GPS drone, and he showed how this drone would just hover there. And I thought, well, wow, that's the ticket, right? I mean, that sounds like something. And just probably right about that time, this would have been in probably late 2015 or maybe 2000, early 2016, DJI put a sale on the Phantom 3 Standard. You could buy it as a refurb for like $389. And I thought, well, there you go. And so that's how I got started with GPS drones. And that particular drone is what's really funny is, how all of your flight records are kept in your DJI Go app. And so even the other day I went back and I looked at that very first flight, and of course it was pretty embarrassing. I was afraid I had Sarah with me because I wanted somebody to see what was going on. And I probably didn't get it more than 100 feet away from me at any time during that flight. But, that's how you learn the basics of how the controls work and so forth. And, the rest is history. I got addicted, and it was a Mavic Pro after that. And then, the first Mavic Air, and on and on and on. And so.
Well, you got it. There's no doubt you have an interesting story, and obviously you got loads of experience flying drones. But another thing I know the viewers would love to hear is, how did you hook up with that guy Ron Brown?
Let me tell you, Ron Brown and we're brothers from another mother or something. I don't know, but it's funny that you mentioned that, because I was trying to figure that out the other day. I suspect he probably contacted me in comments on a video or something like that, and he was on with Bill H. And so Bill H invited me on that show at one point, and then the whole idea, that was about the time the original Hubson Zeno came out, and Ron had the early version of it, and I had the early version of it. And Ron said, well, hey, we ought to do a show called Zeno Nation. And so we did, and the rest is history. And that is now, of course, Drone Nation. We've left those Xenos far behind, but yeah, nothing but fun.
We got to be careful what we say, because Ron is listening.
Yeah.
So we got to be careful what we say about.
Yeah. He said it all started with the Hubson Zeno, and that's a fact. So that would have been, December of, 2018 maybe, or 17. I don't remember which. But Ron, I got mine on one of those Kickstarter programs. Is how I ordered mine, and I don't know where Ron ordered his, but he got his about a week before I did. So we were both pumping out videos on the Zeno at the same time, and I'm sure that's how we found each other.
Okay. Well, I tell you, I love Ron. I really do, and I'm not just saying it because he's in the chat. We flew a lot last year when he came down to the South Florida Drone Meetup. And I'm telling you, Marcus, I'm not just saying it because I'm involved with the South Florida Drone Meetup. You will have a great time at the South Florida Drone Meetup.
I'm so absolutely looking forward to it, Captain Ray. It's going to be great. And I'm bringing Sarah with me. So she'll get to hang around with Ron's wife, Susan, and whoever else shows up there. And it's going to be nothing but fun.
Yeah. And like I say, we got beginning pilots coming this year. We got female pilots coming this year. And obviously we got experienced pilots, and we got FPV guys, and Maddie's in the chat also. He's going to help coordinate, or he's going to coordinate the FPV guys, because I never even flew one other than the time I unboxed one and it went right up to the ceiling and crashed. But it's going to be a great time, and I'm so glad you're coming.
I got a question for you, Captain Ray.
Yes.
Is anybody going to sink one in the drink like they did last year?
Well, I tell you, it's one of those things where it's a good possibility, But
well,
I'm going to give warnings to people that if you're not that experienced about flying over water, don't fly over water.
Yeah.
But again, one went in the water last year. Mark Fisher was the hero. He went in the water and he actually found it, and that was a moment. That was that was the highlight of the South Florida Drone Meetup.
You just described it perfectly. That was a moment. It really was. It was an iconic moment. Another moment, and I tell you, there were so many moments. Actually, I could go on and on and on, but it's one of those things where I just want to try to encourage the people that are on the fence about coming to the South Florida Drone Meetup to make plans. Just come. Shop around for the best airline ticket prices. But we got a great deal going with the Hampton Inn and Suites. That's going to be the official hotel. They're giving us a discount. It's a pretty good discount. And the rate is only $139 for a room, $149 for a suite. And I've already been told a lot of people are taking suites, but that's besides the point. And there's only a limited amount of rooms at that rate, just to let people know. It's not like the whole hotel is ours. It's not. Yeah, and limited days is too. In other words, that rate is, I believe, Captain Ray, is only good for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I think it's a. And well, again, it took me a while to get that rate. I didn't get it initially. It took me a couple of phone calls, and Johnny Dronefly, just to let you know, Johnny Dronefly is in the chat, so we can't say nothing bad about him. He's making all kinds of smart aleck remarks in there. I see him right now. Yeah. But listen, Captain Ray, if there's one thing I know about you, I'll bet you were very persuasive of those people with those people at the Hampton Inn.
No, not really. But I just told her. I says, that rate is higher than if I book it on Expedia.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. I could tell you the whole story, but I won't. To make a long story short, I called back, a month or so later, and we got a cheaper rate.
Yeah.
And it's good. It's good to have an official hotel. Um, but I tell you, I know that we got Stevie in the back room. He's probably eating the lobster and the steak. I don't. Did you leave him any, Marcus? Because I don't want to leave him in there in the back room too long. Because this is what I was going to say about one of the moments at the South Florida when Stevie Bronx showed up at the South Florida Drone Meetup. I was so happy. Hey, welcome, Stevie.
Hey, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate you reaching out.
And it's one of those things I appreciate you filling in at the last minute. But Stevie, I'm not just saying that, to make the people in the chat laugh. I really mean it. I was following you when you were on those guys. That's where I met you initially. And I said, this guy's got his stuff together, put it
Thank
in
you.
nicely, and the man knows how to take photographs and fly drones.
I appreciate it.
And Stevie Bronx obviously comes to us all the way from the Bronx. So Stevie, a lot of people in the chat don't know your story. Can you tell us your story, how you became involved with drones?
I'm another one that walked into a Best Buy and purchased a drone. I purchased my first drone was a Phantom 4. So let's say I was spoiled. I didn't go through all the Chinese junk from all those websites, those crazy websites that you wait for like 4 months. I actually took a chance. I was already doing photography. I had my Nikon DSLRs and such, and I knew how to do all the settings myself. I do everything manually, so I know about the aperture and all that other stuff. So I figured, let me buy a drone and see what it has to offer. Why not? And I've been hooked ever since. With the Phantom 4, it was a great drone to start with because it just did everything. It was just amazing how it was set to the GPS. I just was amazed by the whole thing. And right away, I started just flying it. Like I just, it was one of those things that I would have it with me all the time. Like I would charge it up. And even if I had, nothing to do with drone session or anything like that, just I had a meeting or anything, I had to meet with a friend, it would be in the back, in the trunk or in the back of the truck or something. And if I had an opportunity, I would fly it and fly it and fly it. And with that came the experience, learning from trial and error and stuff like that. But with DJI, as you guys know by now, I mean, it's you have to really do something bad, sometimes when a drone is working perfectly, it's hard to make a mistake, like I used to fly, close to bridges and stuff. Nowadays it's against the rules and stuff, but not over. But I'm just saying, like, I would do these cinematic shots and I would be amazed that I wouldn't lose signal, and I'm looking at it like, how is it doing that? It was like, but long story short, I invested again and I invested again and I invested again and built up my little fleet. And I had the smaller drone for travels and so on. And I guess the drone part, like the drone aspect of it, made me learn more about the editing. Because when I was doing photos, I'll bring it into Lightroom and I would make the adjustments and I'll send it to the client or what have you. But with the drone footage, it's like, I would share it with my friends or people that I know, and they, at first they were like, it's cool, but I felt a little nauseous, like when you first get a drone, you're like stop and go, and then you look the other way and you stop and go. And it is not something you want to share. So I'm just saying to myself, how could I present this right? Like they're not getting the same feeling I'm getting, and I used to watch my own footage. Yeah, it was a little choppy, but I was so excited because it was like, I'm flying around this church and I'm up there. It's a whole different perspective, So it forced me to kind of figure it all out, It forced me to do my research and read articles and look into editors, look into people, even into film, like people that make movies. And it's just endless. I'm a research king. Like I just research and I read forums and I just I can't stop until I figure stuff out, you know? And then once you have the knowledge, right, and you start to figure stuff out, you make it your own. You know,
Yep.
you kind of develop your own, I don't want to cut it here. Even though the rule is cut it after a couple of seconds or what have you, I want to extend it. But if I want to extend it, I might have to adjust something with the music or the sound effects. You know, this way it would be more pleasing to the person watching. You understand? And that's how you start developing your own style. That's how you start developing more interesting stuff, because now you're learning video, right? And you're kind of forced to learn sound. You know, you're forced to learn the post work on editing sound and adjusting the sound levels and such. So, and then that spiraled into color grading, because now I just try my best to match the colors of 3 different genres of cameras, you know, like like 3 whole different styles of how they feature the blues and all that stuff. So it just spirals, but I enjoy it because I'm still in this journey, you know.
I know you enjoy it.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
I can tell. It's obvious.
I
You
really
know, in that
do.
last video you just put out, you know, I really was impressed with that one. You and your new friend. I didn't know him. All of a sudden he's in your video, but that was incredible.
Yeah. If you go back to a couple of videos that I made before, he actually pops up a lot.
Oh, okay.
We actually, yeah. So
I'm
we
missing
actually
him. I'm sorry.
yeah, you missed, but they some of them are old, but we actually did a video. Well, we went hiking, as you can see. Like if you look at my Facebook, you see we hiking in the summer and we hiking right after a blizzard, you know. So but one time we went hiking and we found an old house. It was listed as a castle when we found out later on, and it was like a big clothing line designer fashion guy from years ago, and he had this huge house, and I guess they just let it fall apart. They left it abandoned after he passed away, and we found this house, and it was like a landmark house, and we just found it in the woods. So we just started flying around it. So you could catch that on my channel too. But it's the same guy that went on a mission with me upstate New York.
Okay.
But sometimes it's not cold enough in New York, so we go north.
Well, you know, that's what you got to do, and that's great. It really is. I go south. I like the sun and the beach.
You
But
know,
anyway, it's one of those
funny.
things, Stevie. You came out and you flew with me out on Long Island, and I really appreciated that. You know, and I got to know you a little, well, much better. You know, that day.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because at the Florida meetup, what a lot of people are gonna see when they come, if they're lucky enough to come, it's a lot. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of mini conversations. It's a lot of, because there's so many people there, and there's gonna probably be more, right? There's so many people there, and you just want to talk to everybody. So it's like you gotta, it's like a time management thing going on, because you're like, oh man, I just you're talking to somebody, then you see somebody you've seen before, like from YouTube or something that you want to talk to, like a friend or somebody from the chat that you know, their Facebook and stuff like that. And you kind of like trying to move around and say at least hello to everybody before the day is over. And it's almost impossible, you know.
I know.
But
I know.
It's great. But when we met up in Long Island, I think the best part was it actually rained. So we ran into my truck. We ran into
I forgot about that.
We had a great conversation just about everything. Like, you know, we both have similar backgrounds as far as being very family oriented and such like that. So I think that was one of the best parts. Yeah. So that was one of the best parts. The fact that we got stuck because it rained, we actually got to talk. And then we talked after that. We had breakfast and we talked even more. But yeah, it was a great day. I got some great shots. I was actually to share it. There's some mixed up in the, I guess sometimes I have so much footage that I do like these like remixes, you know? So if you look at my videos, you'll see some of the that waterfront area.
Well,
in the videos.
you know, we got the Port Jefferson ferry. We were chasing that ferry.
I got some excellent shots that I've used from that day, from going around the boats and really cinematic stuff. It was really fun.
I mean, where we fly is not as interesting as where Marcus flies. You know, the State
River
Canyon.
Hey, I just want to make one quick point, Stevie, that you made earlier that I think is really important, and that everybody has to develop their own style. Everything I do is exactly wrong from what if you watch something about how to make a YouTube video, I'm doing everything wrong, but it's my style, and that's what I'm going to do, and it can be interesting. I noticed that there's a lot of people now that are taking that Casey Neistat filmmaking course, and I love Casey Neistat. I love his stuff, but what you see people that copy his style, and you kind of go,
It's
well,
exact to the T. Yeah, it's like a cookie cutter.
Yeah, nobody does it quite like Casey does. So you know what? Develop your own style and do your own thing.
Right. Yeah. To further go on that subject, you can only be the best you, right?
Exactly.
Because if you're trying to copy somebody, you're just going to be this watered down copy no matter how hard you try. I don't care how many courses, I don't care if you mirror this guy to the T. You're still going to be a watered down copy of somebody else.
Yep.
And when I edit, I take heed of what I see. I know what's going on around me. I'm very aware of everybody else and what's going on. And but at the same note, when I'm on the editing floor, like when I'm editing my videos, my imagination is just clicking, little fireworks, like, oh, I could cut this. And then I remember something that happened, and I'm like, oh, I could use this at the end because this will be a good closeout. And that's like my new thing. I like to leave like a little clip of the day at the end of the video. And then I see who watched the whole video by the way they comment. Like I can see that they say, oh, that was funny in the end, like this happened or that happened,
Stevie, you just touched on something else. What commenters need to understand is we can tell if you really watch the video or not.
Yeah. And as far as YouTube is concerned, I just feel like if you're in it, like to go into this, if you're getting into it now, like me, you could consider me kind of new. I'm like 3 years, so you could consider it new. But the whole reason why I got on is because I started seeing other YouTubes and saying, I'm doing all that stuff and more sometimes. I had an old YouTube channel that I pretty much abandoned. And before that, me and my friends had a YouTube channel that we all abandoned. So we were kind of knew about YouTube. I just never edited before. My friends would edit and just that. I was like more running the show like back then, but then I started making a YouTube channel because I was running around and I was like, I'm traveling. Me and my family try to move around 3-4 times a year just to get out of New York and take a breather and like that reset button, So I was like, I'm traveling and I love GoPro and I love adventures and I love jumping off cliffs in random places. We used to go to the Bahamas and make arrangements to charter boats so we could jump island hop and stuff like that. So I'm like, why not share stuff like that? That channel actually I abandoned, but then I started doing the Capture Life Connection channel, and that was like drones. That's around the time that drones took over my life, basically. That's around the time that the passion started, you know? So don't be surprised if you're in the chat now and you're subscribed to Capture Life Connection, don't be surprised if I go off the beaten path, because Capture Life Connection was cameras all around. The original concept of it was GoPro cameras, even filming with iPhones, DSLR cameras. It just, the fact is, it's my channel, right? And right now, drones took over my whole lifestyle. Like when I have time, I go fly. My weekends, if I have a free weekend, because the kids are doing this and family's doing that, and if I could get away, I'm going to do something with the drones. So if you subscribe to my channel, you're going to be involved in my lifestyle. You're going to be watching my lifestyle, but don't be surprised if it takes a curve, because I love GoPros too, and I love the way they function, and I have a few and stuff like that. And I was thinking to, in the summer, do more about GoPros as well, and the functionalities of them.
You're talking about GoPros. I just got the GoPro 10.
And you know what? I'm using that camera right now for vlogging. I was using the Hero 7. I never purchased the 8, and I never purchased the 9, and I have my reasoning behind that. Just real quick, the Hero 9, there was like a lag issue with the front screen, so I couldn't do that in vlog. And the 8 was, you couldn't change the the front lens. It was part of the camera.
Right.
So if I ever broke it in one of my adventures, I kind of got to send it in.
Right.
With the Hero 7, I could change out the lens, and I always have like ND filters. So it wasn't a big deal. So I stood with the 7, skipped the 8 because the lens wasn't removable. I skipped the 9 because that lag. I think the 9 was like the test run for the 10. Like they did the 9, they figured out everything that they had wrong, and then they made the 10, and the 10 was a lot better.
Well, I put off getting this 10. I put it off and put it off. Obviously, it's old now, but I got it. I told my wife,
great.
This is what you're getting me for Valentine's Day. Thank you very much.
She saw the charge on her card out of nowhere. Yeah, no,
but, I got to say this, Stevie.
Yes,
Johnny gave me a great suggestion. He says, you should sell that GoPro 7. You should sell it. I put it up on Drone SWAT Shop. Within hours, it was sold.
Wow.
I solved that problem. I have the 9 and the 10.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go, Morgan.
I still have the 4. Like I put that for sale, like on one of those offered up apps that I could sell it like locally. Man, I'm gonna have to just give it away because nobody wants to buy it. I have every accessory, everything for it, and nobody wants to buy it.
I saw Mark Fisher. He was in the back room, and now he's gone. But that's okay. He'll come back, I guess.
Hey, one more point I want to
get his DJ equipment.
One more point I want to make based on something that you just said, Stevie, too. I mean, a lot of people get into YouTube and they think they're going to have 100,000 subscribers overnight. And that just is not going to happen. I mean, it takes a lot of work. But I'll tell you, I think the day of drone channels getting 100,000 subscribers is long gone.
Yeah.
I just don't think that.
Yeah, I think you're 100% correct. I think right now, if you're doing YouTube, you really have to have a passion for it, because if not, you're just gonna quit. Like I feel like me sharing. Look at Mark just flying around his house.
Wait, I'm FPVing, guys. I'm FPVing.
Stevie was trying to be very serious there.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
You didn't notice my pinky was out? I was being fancy, man. This is when I'm being serious and fancy. but when it comes to YouTube, right? Realistically, if you enjoy it, do it. And to me is that what you were saying before about you saw other people doing other things and they feel like what you're doing is the wrong way of doing it. And that's fine, because anybody that talks to me about YouTube, and sometimes when I'm out having these drone sessions and I meet new people, they ask me about YouTube and stuff, like if they should start or what have you. And I always tell them, listen, be yourself, right? Be yourself, make the YouTube. It don't matter. If you're a shy person, you never like being in front of cameras, then be that shy person in front of the camera. Because the people that subscribe to you, you're not fooling them. You understand what I'm saying? They subscribing to you because you have that shyness, or because you're kind of more social, or because you're like Mark flying around his own house on a chair. They're gonna subscribe for that reason. You understand what I'm saying? So you don't want to be imitating somebody else, right? And then, how long are you gonna keep that mask on? Like when I do my videos. If just watch my videos and you could tell that I'm super comfortable. You know why I'm comfortable? Because I'm being me.
Yeah.
I'm not imitating nobody else. And whoever doesn't like it, they have every right not to subscribe and keep it moving. Yeah. And as I develop my skills within filmmaking, flying drones, traveling, hiking, whatever it is, as I start growing in all these different categories, you're welcome to join me. You understand?
Well,
I feel like
I'm so many good points. You're making so many good points. You really are. And a lot of times I try to copy people, and it's a mistake. And I know I'm making a mistake. But you're right. You should be.
It's good to have somebody that you look up to, right? You want to have goals. You want to have like Mark, sit down. Somebody get this kid in detention.
Teacher,
I love it. Yes, Mark. Okay, yes, Mark.
So to be like, you know,
Wait, let me
and
give you a fancy welcome. Everybody in the chat,
Yeah.
I just want to welcome in Mark Fisher, the hero of the South Florida Drone Meetup and the
Multi-talented
founder of the Rhode Island Drone Meetup group.
and multi-talented film producer, right? DJ, imitates
chicka, chicka, chicka.
many stars, right? This guy is beyond talented. I know if he lived closer, we'd probably be hanging out every other day because the energy
Absolutely.
level he has is I always like bugging out with him in the chat, like when he goes live in Facebook. I'm always in there if I catch him, if I'm signed in. But his energy is incredible. Great guy.
So you know, let's go back into history and as far as like you know, people that are inspired by musicians, or you know, like we got Jimi Hendrix, a prodigy, you know what I mean? He's just amazing. And all the people that came after Jimi Hendrix, you know what I mean? And I'm not going to just single out Jimi Hendrix, Ray Vaughan, and you know, all these amazing guitarists, Eric
Michael
Clapton and
Jackson,
all
don't
that.
forget Michael
You know,
Jackson.
oh, Michael Jackson, he's a great performer, great entertainer, right? But and you know, you get inspired, and it's just like anything else across the board. You know, you're an artist, you grow because you're passion for it, and you grow into it, and you get better at it, and you know. But there's people that are gonna come along, and they're gonna be inspired by you, and so they might have a style. You know, it's funny because if you go back, like if I go back into the '80s when I was a breakdancer, I would teach kids how to breakdance, right? And they'd have some of my style, but I would try to help them develop their own style so they can take it. It's just like karate or something. You get the teachers, the sensei's style, right? And then you develop your own style and put it together and merge it together. Another thing is too, like if you're a child of your mother, obviously your mom and dad, right? You should be better than, yeah. Some of us are not born as mother and dad. They're like
Test
from another
tubes.
universe.
When
Like
you woke up, when you woke up, there was a rat with an ear next to you. They were just like in a lab. You're like, what the hell?
So like,
you were a test tube.
You're
baby.
inspired. So if you're developing a video and you got some styles from some others and you've been inspired, it's not like I mean,
yeah. But Mark, yeah,
you don't want it to look exactly like
right.
somebody else.
Okay,
Right.
let me.
And I touched on that before, like when we were talking about my history. I was talking about how I when I first started to learn how to edit, I would look into everybody, even film producers, like people that make real movies, and YouTubers, and I looked into everything. I read articles, but then as I learned the rules, I started developing my own thing. Like just when I'm editing, I'm looking at the footage, I'm looking at the lines on the music, and I'm looking at what I could put where. Because, right, some of the footage is fast, and you can't do slow music with fast. It kind of confuses you when you're looking at it. And you start developing your style. Then you start developing this, that, and the third. So you're 100% right. You have to figure it out, right? You need a foundation, basically, right? So you teaching the kids breakdancing, that's the foundation. You're doing the windmill, you're going right into a head spin, to an elbow spin, and you point at Ray, and Ray goes, right? So you learned the foundation. But now, after a while, now you know what to do. You know, you got the foundation. You know how to do the windmill. You know how to do that. Now you got to freak it, right? You got to make it your own. You got to get your little ditty bop to it and make it your style. So now you have your little prodigy running around just taking everybody out in the dance hall, right? So it's the same thing when you're editing. Yeah, it's the same thing when you're editing.
Well,
Exactly.
so I'm thinking Captain Ray and I at the South Florida Drone Meetup. If Mark, if you can set aside a little time for us, I think Captain Ray and I would both love to learn how to break dance.
Oh, definitely, definitely. We got to have a break dance session.
We might break a leg doing it.
I'll document it.
Marcus, I think you have been. I think he's been spinning on your head along with me.
Just pour it right out.
Yeah, Marcus.
Now, I also want to add this too. And this is something I was looking in a group and somebody put up a picture of, it's a picture, it's a photo, and they said, I don't want to mention no names, and I hope I don't disturb anybody's groove, hurt anybody's feelings, but you can't put up a picture of two different drones, just saying, two different drones, and say, look at the comparison, and then the pricing. Obviously, the Mavic 3, is $5,000 or $3,000 or $2,000. You can't compare drones with a photo. The Mavic 3 is not really a photo camera because it's got 20 megapixels like anything else, and especially during the day, because during the day you can take a spark and get a great picture. You know what I mean? And then think about what people are watching this on. That's right, Captain Ray. What are people looking at these photos on? First of all, they're posting it to Facebook. Now, Facebook doesn't downgrade on photos so much. It's mostly video.
Right.
Okay. They don't disintegrate your photos. It's mostly video. So if you shoot in high frame rates, but if you want to compare a drone, compare it to its fullest. Don't compare it just on a photo or whatever to another. Compare it to the fullest. Shoot in the best frame rates or shoot in the highest photo you can, being stacking it or doing that. Then start comparing the drone. Let me tell you something. A lot of people that complain about the Mavic 3 being expensive, it's not. Nope. It's not expensive at all, man. That drone is priced just right for what it can do.
So Mark, it was a little bit of a shock when it first came out, opinion. Right? No, I agree. I agree 100% with what you said. But when it first got introduced, I think it was sticker shock on a lot of people because we were so used to those $1,500-$1,600 drones, right? And I think that's where that came from. But as you say, when you do the analysis, it really isn't that expensive.
Thank you, Jack.
No, and then you know what? I think everybody forgot they asked for a Micro Four Thirds. You know what? This is what we want. We want a Micro Four Thirds camera.
Well, I mentioned that. Yeah, I mentioned that in a conversation one time. I was on a live stream and they were talking about the Mavic 3. And I was saying, well, remember all this time that everybody was putting their list together of what they wanted? And DJI put all that stuff and it comes with a price, right? So, there's a lot of technology involved. And they didn't get it right the first time. Some people had perfect drones. Some people didn't. It is what it is. I mean, it's just part of the game right now. I'm not going to get into that part of it. But like Mark was saying, you asked for all this stuff. Yeah. It's not going to be cheap to put all that technology in such a great little drone, And you think about the drone, it seems big if you're running around with Minis and Air 2s all this time. But think about all that tech in that drone. Think about back in the days when we were all lugging the Phantoms, and stuff like that just to get a 1-inch sensor. And now this is beyond that. At a smaller thing that could be folded up and thrown in a book bag, could pretty much fit any book bag right now.
But think about it. How many times do you really throw it in that book bag and then go to a spot and fly? You go to the spot, you get in your car, right? Mm-hmm. You get in your car, you take the drone out wherever you're gonna fly, right?
Yeah. But that's another point.
We want these folded drones because we want to travel because it's light. We're not hiking up a hill or hiking down somewhere with a backpack on and then we're doing.
And you
could bring a Phantom. You could bring a Phantom in your car. You don't even have it. Put it in a backpack. You can already have it set up. Get out and come
to Idaho, Mark. I'll take you to some places where you can hike in and fly your drone.
But Mark made a great point, and I'll tell you right now. I was flying this weekend, and if you go to my Facebook page, you're going to see a picture I put up today. In that picture is two of us walking. It's me walking with a friend, and I have a book bag on, and I have a suitcase. In my book bag, I had the Phantom 4 with 3 batteries, the Air 2S with 4 batteries, and all the little accessories for my GoPro. And in the suitcase, I had the FPV drone, and the reason why I have a suitcase for the FPV drone now is because I don't have to take off the props, the sticks. I don't have to take apart the goggles, the goggles. I could just take it out and fly. Usually I have to put on the little antennas on each, 4 antennas on the goggles. And I got to put the sticks, and then I got to put the props on the drone. In the winter, you don't want to do that. Yeah, it's like 16 degrees, and I'm flying sunrise. So it's like maybe 5 degrees real feel, So I'd rather bring the suitcase. You got to lug it. But like Mark said, I'm just talking about most people. Most people complain they want to be able to fold it up and put it in their purse and keep it moving. I don't care about that. I don't care about that. And it shows, because if you see how I'm living, if you see how my drone sessions, I bring the Phantom 4. When I started bringing the Phantom 4 Pro again, when the Mavic 3 came out, because I started seeing all these image comparisons and this and that. And I was like, you know what? I think it's time to blow the dust off the Phantom 4 Pro. Like Mark said, you're jumping out of your truck. You're really not lugging it. But you know what? I'm still willing to lug it, because honestly, how many times I missed the gym? I should be carrying all this stuff all over the place. You know what I mean? To keep myself in shape, right? Like I think it's a win-win. To me, I try to be optimistic about the situation, right?
Yeah. Can you imagine?
I don't
5
like the
years later?
complaining. I don't like to be
5 years
complaining.
later.
I got
5
calves
years
of
later?
steel, Mark. I got calves of steel, bro. I'm hiking in the snow with Phantom 4, Air 2S,
Yeah.
all the extra batteries, the DJI FPV with all the extra batteries, the whole getup. And even if I don't fly all three, as long as I don't say, "Oh, I should have brought this, I should have brought that," I'd rather lug it. I'd rather go through the hike.
Well, I'll tell you,
and have it there.
Stevie, you invited me to go with you for the fall colors, and you said there's a hike involved, and I had to bow out.
He bailed. I said, "It's a little hike." He's like, maybe next one. Let me know about the next one.
I said, let's go to a place where I could get out of the car and fly.
You know what's funny is that I put out a video after that, and you see Tom lens capture. He's like, in the video, the beginning of the video, Tom is like, all I know is that somebody's carrying me back up that trail. That was the same place that I invited you, because we had a hike to a overlook for this amazing waterfall in the Catskills, New York. So we got up super early. The sun was just coming up, and if you really love this thing and you really want to get the shot, sometimes you got to make the sacrifice, right? You have to get up at 4 a.m. and have your sandwich made and everything. Try not to wake up the family, have everything packed up by the door, and just get out before you disturb the peace in the house, and that's what we do.
No, it's amazing. And I love your videos. I really do. But we got a new guy in the chat. Welcome. I just want to say welcome to Davey.
Hey, how you doing?
TV. He wants to know your guys' channels. So can you please tell him your channels? Marcus, you go first.
Yes.
Idaho Quadcopter.
Stevie?
Capture Life Connection.
Mark.
My channel?
What's your YouTube channel? He's really a Facebook Live guy.
You got to go to his Facebook to be entertained.
Mark is the founder of the Rhode Island Drone Meetup group.
We're going to get to 401 pretty soon. M Drone 1. It's EM.
Then you cut it off again. I'm cutting it off.
EMDRONE M Drone 1 M Drone 1. It's weird. Don't subscribe. I don't need any subscription.
He's
don't
a professional.
Subscribe, please.
He makes movies in Hollywood and commercials.
I love that commercial, man. That chicken commercial rocked.
I wanted to add to something. Oh, the chicken commercial makes you want chicken. I'm done with
does.
chicken. I'm so full with chicken. Listen, I wanted to add though. It's so great to know that Stevie and whoever else is saying that they can pull out the Phantom 4 Pro and feel good, about that you could bring that still after 5 or 6 years that it is, that true. That's a competitor. That's a drone that can do everything that any drone out right now or consumer drone, I should say, pro consumer drone that can do anything that they could do pretty much. And a mechanical shutter.
Props in the shots. Props in the shots.
Listen.
Props in the shots. But if you tilt the camera down a little bit if you're getting
you
cinematic,
eliminate them. Exactly.
If you're getting cinematic, you're not flying that fast. Yep. And I don't have to fly fast unless I'm trying to get to a spot and I'm dealing with battery life.
Yeah.
Now, another thing for me is, as a filmmaker, a drone is just it's a B-roll camera. Wow. That's all it is for me. It's a B-roll camera. It's another camera in my tool bag. And the thing for me on a camera, there has to be D-log because I'm not going to be able to color match every other camera that I'm shooting with.
That's
Let's say
hard.
I'm going to pull out the action. Let's say I'm going to pull out the Sony. Let's say I'm going to pull out, whatever different cameras I'm going to pull out. I need that to be a log so that I can really color grade that to match up to what I'm shooting. So there's a lot of aspects and
There you go, Tammy.
scenarios to like when you're shooting. If you're just a strictly drone shooter and you're getting drone, but who are you giving that to? YouTube?
Right. No.
Okay, you're a YouTuber, but you're not going to give that to a client. You want, and that's great. I love it. I think it's a great inspiration with the YouTubers and these people that like come on and they do these reviews on drones. It's perfect. A lot of what I learned came from some of them guys. When I found out they was on there.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
I tell you,
when you realize this whole other world exists.
I just want to say that you guys have been great guests tonight. You really have, and everybody in the chat. Thank you again for watching and your interaction in the comments. And we love.
That means we're getting ready to get thrown out.
No, not at all. But we're ready to have the monthly contest giveaway.
Hey, Captain Ray, I'm going to drop off. I've got a couple.
You don't want to get in it, Morgan? Just put in your guess right off of the bat. And it's very simple. Put in the correct color. I have it written down. First one that gets it is in the contest for the monthly drawing of Adventures with Captain Ray Kelly hat.
Woo.
No, I want toffee. Where's my boy at? Where's Art at? I want toffee there.
There's
I
my
got one
guess.
of those hats. I got a
We'll
sign
see who
hat.
gets the right color.
I got new stickers.
Nice
Ray.
stickers.
If you
I
were,
like those stickers.
if you were in New York, you would have a
As
stack.
much as I hate to say it, we got a winner. Jerry Bauer, I think, got it first. So Jerry Bauer,
Nice.
first yellow.
Congratulations,
yellow?
Jerry.
Oh no, I was thinking about we was really thinking about an off yellow, like a creamer shell.
Hey, I like your stickers, Stevie. I really do. Marcus, you have to go. I understand.
Gotta run.
You have a great evening, Marcus.
All right.
Marcus, just to let everybody know, Marcus has to go get his makeup and everything because he's going on the World Drone Community next.
In just a few minutes.
And that comes on at
Oh,
7
Robbie,
o'clock
that's
with
right.
Robbie and Al.
And then Drone Nation later on this evening. So.
And then 9 o'clock
get
he's on
powered
with
up.
Ron.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
Thank you, Marcus. Appreciate it.
And at the South Florida Drone Meetup, he's going to be breakdancing. So go.
Yeah.
Damn right.
Damn
It's been
right.
my pleasure to be on with you guys. I want you to know that.
Oh man, it's a blast.
Thank you.
Marcus.
We'll see you a little
Thank you,
later.
Marcus.
Wow,
Oh,
I tell
man.
you, he's a great
Marcus is
guy.
great.
He really
Yes,
is.
definitely.
Yeah, Marcus is awesome.
But I gotta write. If I don't write it down, I'll forget who got that. So I gotta write down Jerry Bauer. So you guys can talk while I write it down.
I got a sunset shot tonight. Look at that, huh?
Oh, you did
Oh,
catch
that's the
it.
shot you got. Nice.
I
wish
saw you
knew how
in
to
traffic. I saw you in traffic, and you were concerned you wouldn't make it on time.
Yeah, I made
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad you made it.
Nice.
bro.
You know,
Thank you,
Mark,
man.
I'm not just saying it because you're a guest. Your photos and video are incredible. They
Oh,
really
he's
are.
a pro, man. He's a pro.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
He's a pro.
Really
He
appreciate
makes it work.
it. I tell you, like, I try to work hard at it, but I listen, really, I want to share what I know, and it's for me, really, truthfully, man, it's not about, I want to be known and I want this and that, man, my heart is nowhere near that, man. I want to grow and I want people around me to grow because the fact is that if people around me grow and get better, and it's gonna keep on rising to the potential. And I'm never gonna get that shot. I'm never gonna get it. I want to stay hungry for that shot. I'm never gonna say that this is the one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's never gonna be the one because things are always changing, and you're capturing time. And that as soon as I took that photo or whatever, something else changed. You know what I mean?
It
So they're
changes
always
all the
different.
time, especially with a
All the
sunrise
time
or
it
a
changes.
sunset.
Yeah.
No, it's
The only
amazing.
thing is you got to get out there. You got to get out there early, Captain Ray, because it takes 10 minutes for the Maverick.
Tell
the
me
Maverick
about
tree to
it.
get
I'm
out.
gonna try. I'm gonna try
Satellite.
again tomorrow.
You got to turn
But
it
listen,
on before you leave the
the other
house.
thing-
You got to turn it on today, so get it up tomorrow.
Yeah, there you go. We could
Tomorrow.
put that down as the tip of the week, But the tip of the week this week is a basic tip. do a checklist before you fly. I have one handwritten in my little case, and most of the time, 99% of the time, I go over it.
Yeah.
But
Good.
do a
That's
checklist
really good.
before you
Well, listen,
fly.
Especially during the
I'll-
winter.
I'll,
It's
I'll,
either
I'll
dead
get,
winter or like summer.
I'll get a little more detail. One of the big things that I noticed that some of the pilots that I know that are veteran pilots, they make this mistake is checking the return to home. Always check your
Cool.
return to home. Know the environment you're in, because especially if you're in an urban area, you better know those buildings around you. Because once you start doing your little cinematic moves left to right or whatever, you don't know if something might get in your way. And you might not, you might have VLLS, whatever, visual line of sight. You might see the drone and still lose signal. You know, there's things that happen. These things are not perfect. So always have that return to home ready. Don't think that just because you had a smooth 2 years flying your drone, that something weird like a satellite just stops connecting out of nowhere. Just know that the return to home is right. That's a biggie.
That's a good.
Also, what I've been doing now is, you know, those little hand warmers, the little packets that you move them about and they warm up.
Yeah, the sisters use them. The sisters.
No, listen.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Keep your batteries in your pocket with those in your hand, because the cold will kill the battery life, right? So you have a little less flight time. But if you have those warmers in your pocket, put your batteries in there too. So when you're flying, that drone, when it's done and it lands, you switch batteries. If you don't have the perfect place to fly, that you don't have visual line of sight right there in your vehicle, and you have to hike it like what we do, and we're out there in the elements, those things will save you, and you'll get more shots because the batteries won't be ice cold by the time you put it in. Because if you're just out there and your case is on the floor and there's snow there and it's freezing cold, you're gonna lose at least 10, maybe 15% of that battery. I wouldn't know the percentage, but you're not gonna get that full battery in that cold, you know.
I got another tip.
Okay, good.
I got another tip. If you're going out and it's cold out, put the AC in your car on all the way high. Get freezing cold in your car, because then when you step out, it's nice and warm.
Okay. You know, it's funny in the old days, right?
If it's colder in your car than outside, you're good.
If you kept your cameras in your air-conditioned car, and then if you got out in a hot climate, your lenses would fog up. You remember that?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, you know, if you switch your lens on the GoPro camera, you know, and you put the ND filters and stuff, if you're not near like an air conditioner, like a cold environment, you know, if you do it outside and it's like the summertime, your lens will fog up. I learned that the hard way. Try to switch the ND filters in the field. You have to be like an air conditioner. So what you do is you go in your vehicle, you put the AC on, you put the lens right next to the AC, right at the vent, and you switch the lens, then jump back into whatever you're filming, or if you're going to jump in the pool or the beach or whatever you're going. Don't switch it in the field. Don't be on the beach and be like, oh, this is too bright. The colors are not right. Once you switch it, it's going to fog up and you're going to lose the shots.
Right. I tell you, so many. I mean, we could make a show all about doing,
I know,
tips.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, it's really been a great show tonight. It really has been. But the hour has gone. It is gone already, and I don't like to go on the World Drone Community time.
I heard this was an extended show. When I was told to come on the show, I heard it was an extended show, that there was going to be an after party, and then I was in the back, and it was
the DJ equipment. Mark got to pull out the DJ equipment.
I know, I tell you. But I didn't plug you, Mark, specifically, but I want to say thank you, because you and the Rhode Island Drone Meetup group are sponsoring the South Florida Drone Meetup. They're taking up a collection, and they're going to give us a mini too to ravel off. And I better get it together. So much, And
I got my tickets.
Mark,
I got my tickets.
I'm glad to hear that. The other thing is Mark is going to give an editing presentation at the South Florida Drone Meetup for those that are interested. There's no doubt you'll learn something.
Yeah, sharpen your number 2 pencils.
$59.99 $59.99 a head.
Yeah, I know.
Times 71.
I know. I tell you, it's one of those things where, and there's no doubt Mark is going to be entertaining us with his jokes.
Yeah,
Because
Maybe, hopefully, no swimming.
he thinks he's a comedian.
he thinks.
He thinks.
I don't think that much neither. Can you imagine?
But I got to say thank
Ray's
you to
too funny.
Stevie and Mark, because they both filled in at the last minute when they knew I lost one of the guests. And I hope Ron is doing well on his medical transport. But thank everybody in the chat for watching, and I'll
Thank you,
let you guys say your goodbyes. Stevie, if you want to promote anything, feel free to do it now.
I mean, if you want to see me and all the stuff that I do, you could go to capturelifeconnection.com. That's a regular website. It has all the stuff I do with the photos and video and everything else, all the t-shirts and such. Like, I try to, if I'm into something, I kind of design stuff that I'm into. So I was chasing drift cars, so I made a
Give
shirt
us a
about
better
drift
look.
cars.
Give us a better look.
Oh,
I
sorry.
know we like them. Oh yeah, that's cool. I want one of them.
Yeah.
I'll be sending you a PayPal on that.
Yeah, don't worry about that. Just let me know your size. So I got stuff like this.
I
So I
know.
got stuff like this, and like I try to like have everything caught up in the lifestyle. Like if I'm doing something, everything will be about that. And like I said before, Capture Life Connection was everything about cameras. It wasn't just drones, but it's just my fascination with drones just took it over right now. So don't be surprised if you're subscribed. Don't be surprised if things go into other cameras like DSLRs and GoPro cameras and such like that. Even iPhones. I used to love running around with an iPhone and a gimbal, I just like the way it's smooth it is, and the technology in these iPhones and such. It's such great.
I
Like,
know.
it's amazing.
I love my iPhone.
A lot of people don't think about it, but think of some of the most amazing pictures in history. Way less technology, right? But they still legendary pictures. So it's not about the camera. It's about the picture and what you captured and what's behind that. You know what I mean? So a lot of you guys don't get caught up in the technology so much. I see all these beefs about this and that. Just enjoy what you have, appreciate the community, focus more on what we have in common instead of what we don't have in common. It's so easy to find negative stuff if you're looking for it, honestly. It's so easy. So if you're really about that life, I mean, I see people post stuff about positivity and then they running up in other people's comments saying negative stuff. Like, if you're really about that positive life, focus on what we have in common. That's all I got to say.
Great points, Stevie. Mark, what about you? You want to promote anything?
I'm gonna promote. Don't follow me on YouTube.
Freeze up your car before you go out.
Don't try to get in my group because we're almost at 401 members.
And
It's gonna shut.
It's gonna crash.
And listen. Do not comment on anything I say because anything I say is not even the truth. And follow this guy right here, Stevie Bronx, Capture Life, man. Follow him. He's the bomb. And promote this show. This show is
promote
Captain
Ray.
He's amazing. And
promote Ray.
And the other show that he's on. What's that? Fly for Fun?
Fly for Fun show with Johnny Drone Fly.
If you see Ray's image, share it, tell a friend, text your uncle, whatever. Let him know it's going down.
Well, I appreciate you guys. Believe me, I really do. From the bottom of my heart. I just don't say that.
Hey,
I mean it.
One more thing, Ray.
Okay.
If you subscribe to my channel, I'm gonna charge you $59.99 a head.
Oh, I'm telling you. Thanks again, guys, and thank you everybody in the chat. There's a load of drone shows on. It's hard to keep track of them, but if you want the guide, Johnny Drone Flyer made a great guide up. Email him or me, and we'll get you the guide of all the drone live streams. But World Drone Community is on right now with Robbie and Al, so tune in, jump over there, and then Drone Nation at 9:00. But the most important thing is get out there, fly for fun, and fly safely. So we'll see you again next week, all right? And if you guys want to hang around, we'll have the after party. Good night.